Hi guys. This is a different kind of video for me. Definitely. Normally, I'm here to share higher dimensional realities, algorithms, matrices, messages from higher dimensions, families, councils, what have you. This time's a little different. I have purposefully kept myself out of the realm of 3D. A, because it just frankly has never interested me. B, because I've never really felt a part of this world. And it's just never been something that has resonated. But I am called to address it, finally. And why is that? Well, for the very first time, just in exposure to it, because I don't watch television. Those of you who follow my work know I don't watch TV, I don't consume any sort of media. The limited exposure I've had to it recently because of all of this insanity has revealed to me some very surprising realities. And I'm not going to tell you what to believe, but I am going to ask that you do your own due diligence and you educate yourself. There is a lot happening right now behind the scenes. And remember, this is a slave planet. There are chains that bond this planet to a low frequency. And why would that be? Anytime you introduce money into a system, a human consciousness system, that is slavery. And we have had an off-planet race of beings that have put us in bondage. And, well, the good news is that they are losing their grip. But the bad news is that here we are, isolated from each other, and a small handful of the powers that be have managed to get us all in this state of fear, isolation, and now economic, social, spiritual, mental, psychological state of, I don't know, of not even fear. It's panic and grief and all of those negative frequencies. So, what is the solution? Well, I've taught for over a decade now about being a sovereign being. You are sovereign. You are incredibly powerful. You have all the power of the universe within you. And now is the time to exercise that. And how do we do that? Well, first of all, it's time to educate yourself. We're going back to what I saw in 3D that was somewhat alarming. There are all sorts of truths happening behind the scenes that were shocking to me. And people are being fed agendas that, well, they're being accepted without question. And that's because of the internal frequency one carries. If you're fear-based, you're going to accept something. If you change your frequency and you begin to question things, that's the first step. The first step is just saying, what am I being told? Is it correct? And do a dive into it. Educate yourself. Educate. Question what you know. And then remember, you are a super being. You don't need to give your power away to anyone. So if you unhook from all of the noise going on around you and you actually lean into the silence, the gift that we've been given, because yes, it's tragic that we're all isolated and we're quarantined and all this, but at the same time, it's a huge awakening. The silence has caused people to have spontaneous awakenings, to begin to question. The distractions are gone. So use this time to educate yourself, to question, to allow your higher self to join with your 3D self and assist you. Learn what's going on. Learn what's happening. There are no more distractions. You don't have to go here, go there. And there is suffering, and I'm not skimming over that. There's a lot of suffering. And it does make me angry that if you have so much power over the masses. So then there's the individual, and then there's the collective. So individually, we need to take our power back, and collectively, we need to take our power back. But we need to learn what the truth is, what's happening. And then we have to decide what it is that we want. Now, this gets into timelines. If you want to remain in a state of fear and isolation and whatever it is that is being the narrative that's being handed to us, that's fine. I have no judgment about it. As an individual, I am you, you are me. We're both God. We're both co-creating our reality. And if that's the reality you choose, that's fine. Do it. But know that that is a specific timeline. That is the controller timeline. That is the timeline that is related to the bonds that bind this planet. But there is another timeline, and that is the one of ascension. And I hate using that word because the more we use it, the more it's trivialized and watered down. I don't have another word for it. But that just means that the other timeline is one that you take your power back as a sovereign being. You know the truth, you've realized and recognized the truth, you've leaned into the reality of what's happening around you in all densities and dimensions, including the 3D one, and you've rejected it. Compassionately, you've said, you know what? With compassion, I see what you're doing, but I have the compassion to send you love and light, but still say no. I said, no, I choose this over here. I choose my own ascension individually and collectively. You can do that. That's the true sense of the Christed consciousness that surrounds our planet. I am not religious. I was not brought up in any religion, so to speak, but I do teach of the Christ consciousness and the divine matrix and the sacred fire and all of that. And I have many experiences with the Christ being. And I was told of that time in the outside the temple where he turned over the tables of the moneylenders, and he had such anger, and he said no. Well, that is the true sense of compassion. It's not being a doormat and saying, yes, I'll accept all this. Oh yeah, sure, I'll sit in my house and rot and not educate myself and not have an opinion, and I'll send you love for that. And I'll never tell you, oh no, I will reject it just because you have a position of power or strength. You're allowed to have an opinion. And the true sense of compassion is telling someone no, striking a boundary and saying, no, I love you, and authentically feeling that love and saying, but I reject it because I'm on this timeline. And why am I talking about timelines so much? Because that's all I do. It's all I teach. And I have struggled for over a decade to make it relatable, because it's one thing to bring in all of this information that has no language. Mind you, it comes in as a packet of all of your senses firing, every single sense, but it doesn't have language, because language is very basal and it doesn't convey what I see and understand. So timelines are being offered up right now. So this is the best explanation I can give. And I have much more to share about the revelation of the Ascension timeline, the New Earth timeline. And I'm going to share that in another video, because this isn't that video. But there is good news. There is good news. But I'm asking you to do the work before we get onto that subject. Because it's no good to talk about what's available to us unless you have done the inner work. What is the inner work? It's identifying where you are, where you're pointed, and where you want to go. And identifying your power, your strength, who you are, what power you carry, your abilities, and who you are actually being compassionate toward. You have to know where you're going. You've got to know what you want. You have to know your power. You have to know your environment. So educate yourself. Remember, you're a sovereign divine being, and state compassion. So educate, you are a super being, and then decide, do I want to stay in this 3D timeline, or do I want to go to the new earth and ascension? And if you want to go to the new earth, you have to, with care, compassion, state your intention. No, I will not take this, or yes, I will take this. Yes, sir, I'll have another. It's real simple. But what I don't want to see, which completely kills me, is like this Third Reich mentality, because we've done that. We have not learned anything from history, have we? Is people telling on each other, calling the police, saying, oh, they're gathering, oh, they're going to be working. What the hell is that? Seriously? Sorry, guys. I can't accept that. That's a really hard pill to swallow. Because that's giving your power away. Not only is it giving your power away, that is completely plugging into a 3D system. So it's one thing to plug in for yourself, but leave everybody else alone. Don't judge people. If you need to do that, do it for yourself. Tell on yourself. It's not right. I mean, I got to draw the line there. So just think about, go back and reread Hitler's history, Germany. We need a little review on history there, because you are adding into the 3D matrix that we are trying to get out of. So yeah, I know everybody's a little frustrated. They're a little scared. But there's two vibrations. There's fear or love. Choose wisely. Because this is it. This is the fork in the road. I love you all. Thank you for listening. And we'll talk soon about the new earth and what's available. But before we do, take a hard look at where you are now. I love you. Bye.